Most CTOs don't start their week planning to stress about developer productivity. It usually happens the same way. Timeline shifts just a little. A task gets pushed just one more day, and before you know it, you're staring at your screen thinking, why is nothing on time? At Flowout, we've worked with hundreds of Webflow projects, and what we've learned is this. Most teams aren't slow. They are unstructured. And the data backs it up. 46% of organizations can't deliver on time. 97% say the technical debt slows them down. And most delays aren't caused by bad developers, but by bad process. We are going to show you exactly how to spot that. Here's what we'll walk through. What a realistic timeline from a good dev actually looks like. The expectations you should set up front so projects don't derail. The difference between a proactive dev and one who just reacts to everything. Why matching the design isn't a nice to have, it's the job. How to quickly judge whether the build is clean, fast and future-proof. And the homework you must do before hiring your next Webflow dev. Now without further ado, let's dive in. A good developer gives you a timeline up front and actually sticks to it. Shocking, I know, but here's the nuance nobody talks about. Not every delay is incompetence. Sometimes things slip because you changed the scope. Maybe another team failed to deliver assets on time. Or simply the priorities shift internally. Those are normal timeline shifts. What isn't normal is this: constant excuses. No clear plan. Tasks getting redone over and over. We're almost there for the 4th week in a row. Silence until you chase them. That's not complexity, that's chaos. In the State of Webflow 2026 report, we found that 46% of organizations can't deliver on time. Not because the work is too hard, but because the process is a mess. Slow collaboration, unclear ownership, technical debt, it all piles up. A good developer cuts through that complexity. They don't add to it. They ship when they said they would. And if they can't, they flag it early, explain why, and give you a plan to fix it. Now, timelines don't break because of bad intentions. They break because expectations aren't clear from the start. A good developer doesn't just say, yeah, we can do that. They set expectations on day one, like what they need from you before they can start, what's included and what isn't, how revisions work, how long things actually take, and how you can help the timeline on track. Expectations are a two-way street. Most teams get burned because one of the two things happens. Clients forget what was agreed, or developers change the rules halfway through. Neither works. In the report, we found out that 93% of marketers depend on developers for even basic work, which means if expectations aren't clear, your entire marketing timeline collapses. If expectations are clear, but no one speaks up when they are at risk, the process still breaks. And this is where proactivity matters, and where most teams feel the friction first. Here's a fun truth. Most clients think they want proactive developers, until a developer says, I need the copy today, or if this decision isn't made, we are blocked. But here's why proactive behavior matters. Teams fall apart because of slow handoffs, unclear communication, and siloed workflows. Collaboration breakdowns kill productivity. A proactive Webflow dev prevents that. They say, here's what I need, here's when I need it, here's what happens if we delay, here's how we keep the project moving. At Flowout, we say it openly. We can't start until the copy is final. When a developer asks for what they need up front, they're not slowing it down. They're just making sure the build doesn't fall apart halfway through. But even perfect communication doesn't save you if execution is sloppy. And nothing exposes a sloppy developer faster than asking them to match a design. Let's make this simple. A dev who can't match the design isn't just slow, they are a risk. They don't need to be designers, but they do need to execute the design with accuracy. A good Webflow developer understands spacing, typography, responsive behavior, interaction nuance, component consistency, accessibility. A bad developer says, close enough. But close enough causes brand problems, UX problems, and legal problems if accessibility is ignored. 45% of teams worry about brand risk when developers can't execute cleanly. And they are right. One sloppy build can create months of maintenance. So clean visuals are mandatory, but they mean nothing if the foundation is fragile. Most problems don't show up on launch day. They show up months later when the site starts fighting back. If you want to see a developer's true skill, look under the hood, because this is where most development teams quietly fail. The thing is, bad teams don't build, they patch. They fix symptoms instead of causes. If they worked in construction, they'd use a hell of a lot of duct tape. And over time, that becomes technical debt, and 97% of technical leaders say that technical debt slows down site management. And yeah, you feel it. Pages slow down, interactions break, the CMS turns messy. No one wants to touch the site anymore. Good Webflow developers built intentionally. Clean classes, organized components, lean scripts, optimized images, sensible animation usage, strong SEO and AAO structure. Bad developers paste random scripts everywhere. Add fixes on top of fixes. Never clean up classes. Let performance rot. Build things you can't scale later. Here's a test. Ask yourself, would your site survive if your developer disappeared tomorrow? If the answer is no, the build quality is the problem. And here's the hard part. By the time you notice these problems, it's already too late. Which means the real mistake usually happens before the project even starts. Most bad hires happen because you judge the wrong things when choosing a developer. The research usually looks like this. You scroll a portfolio and think, oh, that looks nice, but that tells you almost nothing. You need real proof, not just vibes. Here's what to check. Case studies, not screenshots. Social proof, not testimonials with no faces. Industry relevance. Have they built what you need? Process clarity. Can they explain how they work in 2 minutes? Transparency. Do they tell you what they can't do? If a developer only talks in buzzwords like scalable, custom, pixel perfect, but can't explain their process, run. Teams want stability, clarity, and modern workflows. Good vendors show you how they work. Bad vendors hide behind pretty designs. Now, you know how to tell if your Webflow developer is actually doing a good job. But here's the twist. Even with a great developer, your workflow can still be painfully slow if the system underneath is outdated. So in the next video, I'll show you why marketing teams still depend on developers for simple updates, how the infrastructure itself creates the bottlenecks, and show you why certain teams ship fast, while everyone else stays stuck in queue. Click here and I'll walk you through it.